can you take a look at the first of the process charts that's sitting on your chairs, or you'll pick them up by now. It's that headed, that one. It says, it's the one that says who does what, and the one we want to look at is the one headed engagement. You will see that there are 8 process steps as far as the engagement part of our system is concerned. And you'll also see that we've got different people carrying out those different process steps. Now externally, when we project ourselves to the outside world, we don't use those titles finder, minder and support. We use titles financial planner, assistant financial planner, client administrator. The starting point for our engagement process is that there will be an inquiry. Somebody will have spoken to an existing or prospective new client. And very simplistically, they will complete a new client inquiry form. And that is the starting point of everything that happens in the next 7 steps. It is typically the financial planner who completes the new client inquiry form. And he or she then passes that over to the support team. The support team then takes responsibility for issuing what we call a welcome letter and welcome pack that sets out exactly the process that we use to deliver our services to our client. They create the CRM, the Customer Relationship Management record. They create the file, and then of course it's the financial planner who is following that up with a view to making the appointment for the first meeting. It is the financial planner in that capacity as finder who's attending the first meeting to really get under the skin of the client and find out what it is that they need. The financial planner then completes a post-meeting minute and submits that through to the to the support section, and together the financial planner and the support people build this thing we call an engagement letter, setting out exactly what we're going to do and how much we're going to charge. But of course it's the support team that's responsible for issuing it and following it up. If we move on to the next step in our system, then we come to the advice process. And what I don't intend to do, by the way, is go through each of the 4 that you've got in front of you line by line. So in this context, what I want to do is just focus on one part of the process, and it fits with the model I was describing earlier about the way we deliver team-based advice. If you look at number 5, case conference, this is the combination of the financial planner and members of the support team meeting together with all of the data that we've gathered, all of the information about the client, the engagement letter signed, and working out together what best advice looks like. So we operate on a consensus-based approach, so that any advice that goes out to a client has been pre-agreed before it's delivered. You can see from that process chart the split of the roles between support and financial planner. But what's most important is it is not the financial planner who is actually producing the report, the advice report. That is done by the support team. It is signed off by the financial planner, and it's the financial planner who delivers it in that minder role back to the client. But it is a team of people who are formulating the advice based on their skills, their knowledge and their experience. And in our view, that approach is driving risk out of the business. If we move on to the implementation role, clearly it's the financial planner in his or her minder role who is actually filling in the forms with the client. But you'll notice from that process chart just how much of the work that it is done then rests with the support team. Our view is, why on earth would a financial planner effectively be creating a new business file and making sure that forms were photocopied, submitted to product providers, and policies and certificates properly issued? This is about efficiency of skills and time and knowledge. And then finally, if we look at the reviews and valuations, as I said just now, it is the consistency of the delivery of reviews, valuations, communications with clients that ties them into the brand of the intermediary firm. And again, the bulk of the work then lands with the support team, but it is the financial planner who goes face to face with the client to actually deliver the yearly or half yearly or indeed monthly review reports. The 4th item on my agenda was assets under management, and we're probably all well aware that in terms of valuations of intermediary businesses currently, this seems to be the dominant factor, the focus of attention of both buyer and seller. I think this is going to change in the future, and I'll share with you the reasons why I think it will change. There is, of course, a huge difference between the value that can be attributed to a client bank and the value that can be attributed to a business, and there are distinct differences between the two. If I was thinking about buying a client bank today or in the future, I think it highly unlikely I would be prepared to pay capital for that asset. And my reasons for saying that are, I hope, very, very clear. First of all, if it's a client bank and it's been produced by an individual and that individual is no longer around to maintain the relationship with those clients, then I think there's a real chance that client bank will dissipate and value will be lost. Inside a business where there's a team-based approach, then I think that client bank is more likely to stick because they will have bought into the brand of the business. I also think in the future acquisition will not be on a capital basis, because already we're seeing the development of software tools out there that not only are capable of valuing the individual client within a client bank in terms of flows of future revenue, but are also looking at whether or not the demographics of that particular client are likely to lead to future production of revenue. So if a person has a client bank, I would suggest to you the likely valuation on that client bank is going to be significantly lower than the valuation of a business. Let me share with you what we think the differentials are likely to look like. And of course these are opinions, they're not tested in the market, but I sense if we look forward into the future, this is the kind of things that potential acquisitors of firms will look at. Brand must have an additional value, because of course, as I said earlier, it's what attracts people and what makes them stick with an organisation. People, without a doubt, are going to have an additional value to the client bank. And as I said earlier, that's particularly true if those people have actually resulted in the redundancy of the business owner. Processes and systems, so that there is a clear linkage between what the client wants and the way in which it is delivered, is also going to add value to the firm. I think because of those attributes, brand, people, systems and processes and assets under management, a potential buyer will see that there is the ability to replicate that model and will in fact therefore have more confidence about handing over capital for the business. I think they will also see that if they can replicate, they will have the ability to increase the profit margins on those firms as well. So for me, it's about the combination of those different attributes that are going to result in the most value that gets produced when this business is eventually sold. So, summary: brand, the power of the firm, what it stands for, what it represents. People, acquiring them, making sure that they're better than the people you currently have, and certainly better than the principals. Systems and processes that are robust, drive efficiency into the business and drive risk out. Those held together by the glue that is represented by assets under management, in my view, are the four key attributes of a valuable intermediary business in the future.